Welcome to Snowmobile Sessions Live on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. We're the #1 destination to learn about snowmobiling, network with other sledders, and have an awesome time doing it. We'll meet other snowmobilers that share your passion and show your fan photos along the way. Snowmobile Sessions Live. Enjoy the ride.
It's a journey for life and I'm gonna ride. Hang on.
This episode of Snowmobile Sessions Live is brought to you by Energy Power Sports. They're Oakville's full-line BRP dealer with sales and service to all BRP models and so much more. Check out energypowersports.ca, and they're shipping sleds like crazy. As you know, I got mine last week, and yours is probably coming in soon too. It's also brought to you by Fast Track Traction Products. There's one thing a rubber track can't do, and that's penetrate snow and ice. So if you want the best advantage you can get on the snow, check out fasttrack.co, fasttrac.co. There's no K in track. And if you go on there and get your studs and backers, put the toolkit in the cart, go to the checkout, and when you use the coupon code SNOW, S-N-O-W, that toolkit is absolutely free. Check out fasttrack.co. We're going to hear more of them when we get to the fan photos. It's also brought to you by the super fans. And I'm telling you, the super fans last episode before Christmas, our BRAP Cancer Telethon, hit it out of the park. $5,151.13 is sitting there right now. Awesome. That we're going to divvy up to. Yeah, we're going to divvy up to both charities on Tuesday, and we'll start shipping those auction prizes out as we get the notification out to the vendors. But thank you guys for all that. That was truly amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Gary, I got to say something to you. I want everybody to know in the audience and everything, the work that Gary puts in behind this show is unreal. So thanks, Gary. Honestly, bud, a lot of guys don't understand how much it takes to run this show. And I want to thank you as your co. No, seriously.
No, I know. I appreciate that, man.
It takes a lot, and what you did to do and to pull all this together is unreal, bud. And I want to thank you. So, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. So, but thanks, Gary.
Yeah. No. That's I couldn't do it every week without you, Rich. You know that. We've had lots of conversations on this, and cheers, I appreciate your time and for nothing. Yeah, for sure. And for nothing, you know what I mean? A few free hoodies and stuff, but good God, like we're a low budget production here. And I mean, it's, but I was ecstatic, man. We didn't have an idea of budget going into this thing as far as what we could raise. And I would have been happy to have $1,000. And then when we raised like 1,300 or something, December 23rd or whatever that was, I was like, holy goodness, we got something here going. And then now it's like, we actually smashed $5,000. Like that's for our first kick at the can. And basically it was done overnight. It was really put together overnight, wasn't it, Rich? Like, yeah, no, for sure. It was that Tuesday. I said to you, hey, I think I'm going to build a website tonight. You laughed. Yeah. Rich went LOL. And then I sent him the link at like 10:30 that night going, what do you think?
Yeah. But everyone's got to understand though, and I've said this, like anyone I talk to offline though, Gary, like the work that you put in behind this, it's easy for me to say because I just show up every Monday and it's like, we're doing all this, but the work you put in behind the scenes, I just want everyone to know is awesome. So, and thanks, bud. No, seriously. And
I know you appreciate it. I know you do. Thank you.
So, but
no,
anyways,
and we do it for the fans more than anything else, man. And we were having fun, and I know we've talked about that over beers and lunch and stuff. And it's like it keeps us going because if we didn't have people right now in the chat saying, Happy New Year and thanks, Gary, and you know what I mean. That's why we do it. Where else would these guys go? Like I had last week, David, we were off. We were off last week. We took a week off, and I fielded so many messages going, "What? No snow sessions tonight? Like, what's going on?" And you get to the point where, "Hey, Rich, should we actually go on tonight?"
It's true. It's true. But also, we got to make a big shout out, and everybody knows in the fans, like the snowmobile community is amazing. We're a tight knit community, and and Gary, you could attest to this. we have tried to get as many people, guests on that shares everything about the snowmobile community. And we're really, really excited that David's on tonight from Arctic Cat. We've tried to get people on from Cat and Yamaha, and it's awesome that we're really delighted that you're on tonight, and it's awesome, man. So we're great. We're appreciative. Hey, Gary?
Yeah. See, the fans agree too.
Yeah.
The fans agree too. So who we got in the chat here? We got Moose, we got Joe Crockle, we got Jay Fly Low. He says, thanks, Gary. Dominator, of course, he's in there. He's got some cool pictures. Corey Brock, Keith 63060. Mike Goulas, hey, how you doing, Mike? I got something on the printer for you right now. Anthony Palermo, of course, big boy from Windsor. He's a big fan. Uncle Buck. My wife is still not over your wife trying to outbid her on that hat in the auction. But my wife was successful, so there you go. So actually, I said, Lisa goes, "Who the hell is Uncle Buck?" And I said, "It'll be Mrs. Uncle Buck." I said, "You don't be mean. We got to ride with them this winter."
That's right.
Mark Slayton. Sometime is now. Greg, guess what? I got something on the printer for you too. Pony Cat, thanks, buddy. You set all this up tonight. We're happy to have Black Cat David McClure in the house. That's awesome.
Yes.
Renegade X, another good buddy, and his Pro Polaris is always not too far behind there. He says, Happy New Year. Oh, geez, it goes on and on. Like Pro Polaris, they're all in there. Adventures This Way's in, Don, yep. And Moose, and that not my Moose. Backyard Rex in the house. How you doing, Adam? I think we mentioned him. Skidoo 600R, yeah. Parrot Party, that's a new one. I like that. So yeah, and thanks for Adam for hosting me that night. I know it was a shit show, and I appreciate you guys hanging out because the sound quality was awful that night.
That was good.
I tried to fix it with the for the podcast. I haven't got finished it yet though. Mrs. Uncle Buck wanted that hat bad, Uncle Buck says. And Trent Campbell says, Happy New Year, guys. So, yeah. But it's like, you know what? It was our first live, like busy live. We had Santa Claus come in, David. You'll have to watch the replay on that. And Santa Claus is an Arctic Cat guy. Did you know that?
Yep.
Santa Claus is a good man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked Santa Claus what his favorite sled was or what's he riding. He pointed to the Arctic Cat mountain sled we had in the shop, and he said, Arctic Cat, of course, it's right in the name.
I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all.
Yeah. Santa's a good guy. I heard he's through a grapevine. He's got a LT Grade 8000 that he rips. So
sounds about right.
Yeah.
If you watch the channel, you might be able to figure out who he is.
That's awesome.
And I think it's my next vlog video. There might be a guy of large stature on an LT Grade 8000. So
right on. And Gary, you got your sled, bud, too. Let's not take light of that. Like, you picked up your sled. That's awesome.
Oh my goodness. I just like looking at it. I got a 2022 Renegade X 850.
Oh, nice.
Black on black, and I got the red belly pan, and I got a lot of goodies I got to put on yet. And did I tell you, Rich, that I'm not mentally prepared for the tunnel protection?
You said that. Yeah. You did mention that. Yeah,
but
it's different, right?
I was mentally prepared yesterday, and then and I was going to do it today, but then I was so busy there. Odie the Sled and Car guys in the house. Yeah,
hey, Odie.
Yeah. We like him too. But yeah, it's it's something else. I now I can see the that's my first brand new sled ever, right? So
yeah, you're saying that. That's awesome, bud. Yeah. That's well deserved, man. So it's awesome. You're gonna love it. Great sled.
Oh yeah, it's. I keep joking to Corey that it's a lot sitting in the garage right now. You know, when we got this, $20,000+ sled, and there's like 2 cars that are not worth $2,500 parked beside each other.
Like, you can't look at it like that, though, man. Otherwise, you won't sleep at night, man. I'm the same way.
Should I get my kids a new car? Nah, they can They can do that.
Oh man, it's like I'm waiting on
Adam. Adam from Backyard Recreation said they got to buy their own cars. You know, they can't.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. So
when I was 15, I mowed lawns and I got a 1999 SX500 Yamaha. And I remember, like, as you're talking about having it in the garage, I remember having that thing in the garage for months before the season. And I would try every day after school to tip it over, get it up on one ski. And, you know, that was a short track. So it had a fairly wide track. And, you know, but yeah, I mean, I put a lot of miles on that thing in the garage. So.
Oh yeah. Well, it's so funny because the new sleds, like you know that, like they all got the fancy gauges and everything. And the dealer told me, Neil, the mechanic, goes, you know, just if you're sitting around on the sled playing around with the gauge, just make sure you charge your battery before you go riding. And I was like, I had this look on my face like that. And he goes, because he goes, guys go in to sit in their garage for a whole day playing with the gauge, then they throw in the trailer, and then they'll go to Cochrane to ride it, and they're going, my battery's dead. They can't start it when they get up there. Yeah, so. But I haven't had much time to work on it or look at it. I had a crazy weekend. Both kids are home, and now with the COVID thing, it's thrown even more of a wrench into things. But you know what? I'm going to start working on it as the days unfold here. So there'll be lots of videos on stuff I'm doing and everything to it. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, this show isn't about us. It's about David Mcclure.
Yeah.
So David, tell it for the people that don't know who you are, and let's smack them. Just hold your hand up and hit it really hard if you don't know who David Mcclure is. But give us like a little quick soapbox introduction on yourself and what you're doing, and then we'll talk more about you as we get into the photos.
So I'm a Arctic Cat factory backed backcountry rider, and I've retired from hillclimb racing, but I used to I guess I've won 8 world championships on the hillclimb circuit. So I've been with Arctic Cat since 2007. I started racing in 2006. I started on a Skidoo, and after the first year of racing, I got picked up on Team Arctic, and I kind of worked my way up the ranks, semi-pro for a couple years and up to pro, and somehow at about 2012 I started kind of working with Arctic Cat on the marketing side, and that transitioned to becoming a Black Cat rider when they made the Black Cat team. And so yeah, just live in Idaho, just living the dream.
Right on. And 8 hill climb champions. Like, that's nothing to be like, oh, well, you know, I won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Like, that's awesome.
Well,
that's pretty
thanks.
Cool.
Yeah. That was a huge passion of mine. You know, that hill climb racing takes a ton of time and money. Sure. And it was actually when I broke my back in 2018 that I had to kind of decide. I was like, man, I'm trying to be a dad and a husband and a business owner and a pro snowmobiler and a pro backcountry rider and all these things. I'm like, I got to pick and choose. And so that was kind of my exit to the racing career. But you know, and luckily I've recovered well from the back injury. So yeah, could have been a lot worse. So
yeah. That's awesome. I seen your video on I think it was the Arctic Cat channel, or maybe your own there, where you live in Idaho and you run heavy equipment doing farming and stuff. Like, that's pretty awesome. Like, that's pretty cool. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So my grandpa and my great grandpa dry farmed here in Idaho. And I remember when I was like 18 years old, getting done with high school, I would, up till then, I owned my own lawn mowing company. I started that when I was 9 years old. And as soon as I was getting close to being done with high school, I said, Grandpa, I want to be a farmer just like you. And he said, you better go do something you can get a paycheck from, because it's all dry farm and totally dependent on the weather. And so I took that advice, great advice, and I went to college and I got my horticulture degree. Because I'd been mowing lawns since I was 9 years old, I kind of knew the landscape industry, learned more in college. And so as soon as I was done with college, I started a landscape company. And that was in 2005. And so fast forward to, I don't know, it was probably about 2018. I'd kind of got the landscape company established, and all I wanted to do was farm. It was just a dream of mine, and I was in a position where I worked out a deal with my grandpa. I said, over the next 8 years, I'm going to pay you equal payments, and I'm going to buy what's left of the farm. And then in conjunction with that, the last couple of years, I've bought all the rest of his equipment. And then I am the epitome of a farmer. Every dime I made my first year farming, I put every dime back into equipment. I didn't, that's the MO when you're a farmer, I guess. But so I hobby farm and run a landscape company. My accountant told me, he's like, let's not let this farming take away from the landscaping, because the landscaping's, kind of the bread and butter. But so a lot of heavy equipment that I get around. It's pretty fun.
That's awesome, man. You've stayed within your roots, and that's amazing. And people need to remember, like, farmers feed families. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. So what a great story. And that's awesome that you've stayed within it, especially, a couple generations out. That's pretty cool. What a great story.
Yeah, thanks. My grandpa used to own a ton of land, and as the years have gone on, he has to sell a little bit here and a little bit there, and that was kind of what sparked it. I was just like, Grandpa, I'm tired of you selling land to other people. I said, if you're going to sell anything else, I want to be able to buy it, and what's nice is I can work out a deal with him over 8 years, and actually I just the end of this month, end of December, I paid off the last payment on the land, but it was like 3 or 4 years early. So I was able to just kind of give him a lump sum, and unfortunately my grandma passed away a year ago, December 22nd. So but it felt good to be able to give that money to my grandparents and let them, kind of live comfortably the last years of their lives. My grandpa's 85 now, and I owe everything to him, because he taught me everything I know. He got me into snowmobiling, and just more like my dad than unfortunately my dad. He's taught me how to hunt, how to fish, how to do everything. So.
Well, and those are important, man. Family traditions are huge. They go deep. The roots are huge, and for you to keep, I don't know, it's an awesome story, man. That's great, and people need to remember, man. Farming, that's awesome. But what a great story, and it's amazing that you kept it in your family, and yeah, what a great story. That's awesome.
I think he spun that a bit differently from what the promo video said, that he was wondering how to have money to snowmobile, and he seen that landscapers had all the money in the world, so he went into landscaping or something like that. That's a rough summary of what it's.
Well, to be honest, in high school they say you got to choose an occupation that you love, like, so it doesn't feel like you're going to work. You really enjoy it. And so I was like, okay, I want to either be in the Air Force or be a pro snowmobiler. And so I looked into the Air Force, and that was year round. And I was like, that's not going to work, because I love snowmobiling. Like I'm not going to be able to, not snowmobile during the winter. And so then I started thinking, I was like, I could landscape. And actually as a kid, I remember looking at, Team Arctic's website, and they would have all the profiles of all the different racers, and it had to have their occupation, and 3 or 4 of them were landscape contractors, and so that kind of got the wheels turning in my head, and I was like, that would be perfect. 6 months out of the year landscape, 6 months out of the year snowmobile, and so I just went with it and ran with it, and it's worked out, and I love it. just locally, I live in a little town. There's like 400 people here. And I mean, people know I snowmobile, but I'm just landscaper Dave, really. So.
Yeah, I've got a buddy that did the exact same thing, and he bought a landscaping, a lawn cutting business. He cuts grass, and I think the guy had a snow blowing business or snow plowing, snow removal, or he's been asked to do snow removal in the winter, and he just said, "Forget that. I want to be riding on top of it instead of pushing it." And he takes the whole winter off, and he just rips.
I've done snow plowing, and at first when I was racing, I wouldn't take on any commercial jobs because I'm like, hey, on the weekends, if it snows, I may or may not be here. And and as the years have progressed, I've taken on more, but now I have some employees that stay through the winter and help me out. So that way, when it does snow, by 8-9 o'clock in the morning, I'm done and I can go ride. So
yeah, nice.
That's awesome.
Very, very smart. Now there was a question way back there. I think it was Brad Hitchcock said, was all of your mountain wins, those 8 of them, were they all on Cat?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
What kind of sleds were those, David?
So I don't know how familiar you guys are with hill climb racing, but there's all different. There's it's changed now because of the 850s, and now the 800 class is gone, but there's like 900 stock, 900 improved stock, 900 mod. My bread and butter was the 600 improved stock and 700 improved stock. Those were my very best classes. And so I think they were all a mix of between 600 improved stock and 700 improved stock. So on like M6000s, and actually the 700 improved was just I would bump my 600, and it was a Speedworks full mod, 114 octane race gas, twin pipe, mod motor. So
that's awesome. I see you got tools in the background. You do your own wrenching, or do you have a team of mechanics? I do my own mechanicking to an extent. My Rob Kincaid and I's one of our best friends, Jason Nethercott, he helps us, I'll tear the sled apart, and then I trust him more than I trust myself to help put the motor back together and everything. So, but there's rarely a day that I'm just not there helping, doing what I feel comfortable doing. But I mean, I would say it's like 30% me, 70% Jason. But I couldn't do what I'm doing without Jason, really. So yeah, wow, right on. Well, yeah, you need someone in your corner like that if you're busy. Hey, welcome back, Rich. Oh, he's muted again. Hey, no problem. That's fine. Yeah, no, it happens. See what we deal with here, David. We're in and out. Technology. Yeah.
Brutal, man.
So Slowby's in the house. I gotta type in my Slowby. But it's quite a interesting career. What would you say is the highlights and the lowlights of it? What are you most fond of there?
I get asked all the time, do you miss the racing? And I do miss coming off the mountain. And when you're racing, you're racing the clock, so you don't know if when you come down, sometimes you would be like, oh man, I just smoked that run, like I was flying, and you come down and you're in 5th place, and you're like, what? That felt great. And then sometimes when you didn't feel fast, you'd come down and they'd be like, you won. But there's nothing like it. The first time you coming down off, my first world championship, really, I came down off of the Snow King right there in Jackson, and my brother met me in the pits, and he's a big dude. He's like 275, and he threw me up in the air, and he's like, "You're a world champion." And I get the chills
awesome.
just talking about that. So I miss those. Coming down and having, my buddies just give me the fly thumbs up and knowing, oh, sweet, I just won that class. That's awesome. But there's just so much time and energy put into that racing, making sure your sleds are dialed and perfect, and then practicing, and if you go to the race and you don't do good, then all of a sudden you're just like, got to go back to the drawing board. I didn't practice enough this week. I didn't tune enough. And I mean, it was every day I was putting, a lot of time and a lot of effort into it. And the tough thing is I've got a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 9-year-old. And,
wow.
so
that's busy.
yeah. And I didn't want to, and like my mother-in-law, she used to ask me, she'd say, well, how long are you going to do this racing stuff? And I would ask, what's that?
Sorry about that. Just I was trying to refresh my screen and hit a button.
I'm used to gunshots in the background. No big deal.
That's awesome.
But yeah, my mother-in-law, she asked, how many years are you going to do this racing thing? And I was like, I really had no plans to quit anytime soon. And I was like, well, there's guys that are like 45, 50 years old doing it. And right she just kind of looked at me like, whoa. And so it was just crazy how things work out, but breaking my back kind of made me realize, and now I'm glad, because, I didn't want to, all of a sudden my kids are 18 years old. I'm like, whoa, like where'd the time go? Yeah, where'd the time go? And all the while I'm chasing my dream, and not supporting their dreams. And so it's kind of, just everything's worked out. I had a successful career. I accomplished what I set out to do, and time to raise a family and keep the backcountry riding alive. And so yeah,
and that's awesome to bring that up, because my boys, both of them, love like snowmobiling and whatnot, but they both got into other sports. They got into rep hockey. So I got out of snowmobiling, and you do that as a father, right? You get into doing what they got to do. Gary, you did the same thing with your son as well too. Yeah. And it's funny because I got back into snowmobiling, so my two sons, my stepson, they were right into rep hockey. They were all amazing at it. And you do that. And then once they're finished and ended, it's like, you know what, you do the full circle and come back. And it's like, I'm getting back into snowmobiling. And when you got the support of doing that, and that's where I'm at right now. And I can't wait to ride with my boys again, get back into snowmobiling now that they're done with what they need to do. And Gary, you brought that up with your son too, as well. And there's nothing better than getting out. And I'm looking forward to that this year. Having the two snowmobiles, getting out with both my sons and snowmobiling again, because that's what it's about when you get out and get back into getting outside and when you're passionate about snowmobiling, it's awesome. So, but it is a heavy balance, and you have to figure it out, right, when you got a family and kids and stuff, what you're going to do. So that's awesome. That's great.
Is it, David? Is it something that if your son or daughter wanted to do the racing and the mountain riding, would you let them? Would you support them and kind of help them in that path, or is it something where there's a danger factor there that you'd rather keep them out of, knowing what you know?
If my boy or my daughter wants to race, I'm also for it. There's a lot of racers that have actually had tragedies due to avalanches, and they started racing because of that. Because it takes you out of the mountains, on a regular basis on the weekends, to where you're on a closed course, and you might break a bone here and there, hill climb racing, but I don't think you're gonna, heaven forbid, you're not going to die. Whereas there's that chance in the backcountry. I'm all in support of it. My boy, he's been doing like a little bit of a local snowcross circuit. And this year he decided he just wants the backcountry ride. We got a blast. We built it up. It's a super fun build that we did. And I don't know, I'm learning this whole parenting thing. I started them super young on a 120, actually a kitty cat, and then a 120. And I remember one time we were riding, and I have this archway going up my driveway, and we've just been riding, and he's following me, and I'm just riding a 4-wheeler around, and he's riding the little 120, and he just drove right into the side of the archway, and I kind of got upset with him, and I stopped, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you can't run into. And right as I was saying that, I looked at his goggles, and they were fogged up. Yeah, they were fogged up. He was just, and I mean, he'd been doing it so many times. He was just kind of riding by Braille, and
Braille.
Yeah, and one time when he first started, I was like, okay, don't wreck this thing, and so he's really good about not wrecking it. But then I put him on the race course, and I'm like, dude, hold this thing wide and let God sort it out. And it's like two different.
That's awesome, Gary.
Yeah. So like I'm sure he's like, which one is it, Dad? And I'm like, if someone hits you, just hit him back. And he's just like, confused. So I'm kind of glad that and he's because he's kind of started with the racing. Like, there's times I go with grown men and they can't even keep up. And I go with him, and he's right there behind me the whole time, and I'm like, okay, like he's becoming a good snowmobiler, and all I care whether he races or not. I just want him to enjoy it and have fun, because it's a big part of my life. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I think you've got that.
Let God sort it out. That's awesome.
I think you've got the saying wrong, though. You're supposed to tell your boy to not ride faster than his angels can fly. That's
right.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. Oh, no, that's a lot of fun. Hey, listen, you want to have a look at some fan photos, and then we'll get to your photos, and we'll keep chatting here.
Let's do it.
Okay, just hold on. I got to cue this up here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, fun times, eh?
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
We always get a new saying we can use during the show too.
Right.
We're gonna have to write that one down. All right, here we go. Fan photos are brought to you by Fast Track Snowmobile Traction Products.
Slides with us tonight, night. Don't let them go to waste. One moment, one shot.
Check out fasttrack.co. All right, there we go.
Great time.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and you know what? It's warming my heart because we're getting tons of fan photos in. Nice. And make sure you send them in here. I'm going to put it up on the screen here. And what time do they have to send the fan photos in by, David?
You're asking me?
What time do people have to? I love David, it. Who sends in his fan photos at 7 p.m. What time?
Me. Yes. Yeah, like 20 minutes before I think I finished emailing them. So 20 to 7 today. So.
What would be a good time for people to send in photos? Let's say if they were going to send us photos for next week.
5 to 6 hours prior to showtime. So
noon on Monday maybe would be good. Okay.
That'd be the kind thing to do.
I gotta say this. I feel bad. Like Gary, he tries to put it out there politely, like, get him in by noon. Again, I have to put this out here. The work behind the scenes, nobody knows. And when I talk to Gary, he's like, you know what? When people start sending me in photos like afternoon, it takes a shit ton to put this show together. It's funny. So when he says that, he's politely saying, guys, get him in before noon. Because it takes a lot. That's too funny.
I will get to them if they come in after, but
I know, but
some people
it takes a lot of work, though, man.
To my defense, I thought the email went through. I sent 30 at a time.
I know.
35.
No, David. I'm not taking a shot at you, but it's funny because, like, literally, again, nobody realizes how much this takes to like, the background stuff that Gary does on that, and it's funny because it's like, that's why he's always politely, what time do we need to get these in by? But awesome. It's good.
Yeah, well, Rich was in town the one Monday, and he goes, "Hey, you got time for lunch?" I'm going, "It's Monday of the live stream. Honest to God, I didn't have 2 minutes," and it was like, "Oh my God!" And I felt so bad because I literally wanted to have lunch with you. It's like, I can't.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
and then we were still late. I started that show like 5 minutes after 7. So no, it's all good. But noon o'clock on Monday. So
noon o'clock.
But anyway.
All right, let's go.
When you crack your first beer, then send in fan photos.
Yeah.
How's that? So there's no photo on this one, but it's from Ryan Hawkins, you know, our friend at
Ryan
Power Sports. He says, congrats on the new sled. It looks awesome, fella. He just studded his yesterday, so he's ready to ride. Hopefully we can get up north soon and enjoy. And then he says, hope you and the family had a great Christmas. Happy New Year. All the best. Cheers, Ryan Hawkins. He was awesome to have on.
Yeah.
And then the next one's Daniel Raymaker. He said he watched the delivery of the new sled and sent a sleigh emoji. He said, I would have been the same way. No sleep. Toss and turn, dreaming of driving the new machine while I'm awake, sitting on it in the garage, carving the trails up. Can't wait to see you on it through the beautiful trails up by you in Canada. You dar, what did he say? You dar hay from you. I don't know what that is. You dare hay from us Wisconsiners. Yahoo. And he gives me like a guy holding his arm up, a thumbs up. He's got a hugging smiley face and another guy waving to the new Skidoo. You deserve it, brother, he says. So thanks a lot for that. I love that. I love the use of the emojis. He gets a big applause for that. I think we got to give him one of those. So
for sure.
Good use of emojis on that one. I'm telling you. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's enough of the applause. Anyway, then there's not the Michigan Outlaws. They say not enough snow for snowmobiling last weekend, so they got out the side-by-sides. Now I don't know whether you guys have seen the video on this, but Jake just got himself a new side-by-side.
Oh, nice.
I think it's that one right there. It is. It's the very first one there. And he rolled it on the maiden voyage. So, and they got it on camera. So that was good. I felt bad for him, but it looked like he took it well.
Right on.
Do you do much ATVing and side by siding there, David?
You know, I do. Yeah, I've got, it's a Havoc. It's a Arctic Cat / Textron Havoc, and yeah, it's an awesome car that I drive around, you know, kind of on the farm and a little bit hunting, and we went and got Christmas trees on it this year. So definitely a side fan, and I've also got 4-wheelers as well. It seems like, you know, it's just between it'd be hard to live without both of them. So.
Oh, for sure. Watching the Outlaws channel and their side-by-sides, and they each have one, and it's kind of like snowmobiling. It's that same culture, right? And they go everywhere on them. It's pretty cool. Like they take them on trips and, you know, go to these different destinations, and it just, it looks like so much fun. It's something I always wanted. I'd like to try that, get a group together and all in the same thing and just go crazy. Right.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I've never ridden any of those guys. Like, Gary, is it awesome? Like, I've never hopped on one of these side by sides, and David, you can attest. Like, it's one of those things. I'm like, I gotta get out and ride one of these. Are they pretty cool?
Yeah, you think you get thrown around in them, but like I've drove a Can-Am, and you can. The test course we're on there, they dug it all out. So it's like a hole here, a hole there, a hole there. Right. And you're flying along and the wheels are going and your body is just not even moving. Like it takes a bump so well. Oh yeah. It's insane how comfortable they are to drive. Like it's and then when you get into windshields and things like that, it's even better. But yeah, I was telling Jake that I rolled one on a demo day at a BRP dealer and wrecked my shoulder. It's probably about a year. There's physio and everything, and it's still there's still days that it hurts, but yeah, it was one of those new Maverick trails, and they're narrow. They're only like 40. They're ATV width like 46-inch or something, and 42-inch, and they don't warn you that they're tippy. And I went around a corner a little bit too hot, I guess, and I wasn't going fast. It's in the video on my channel trailer. When you open up my channel, it's at the very end of it.
Oh,
And
really?
Drew,
That's awesome.
Drew was recording on his phone, so that's how I ended the trailer. But I never ever put the video out because I didn't do it on purpose. Of course not. It was a complete utter accident. But the guy that actually you have to sign the waiver form and everything, he goes, "Oh, you did better than the demo." Like the dealer at a sales meeting. The guy was in it for 30 seconds and like tumbled it, like totally wrote one off because he rolled it multiple times. Because you get in it and you think you could go and fishtail it out. Like these wide ones you're seeing in the picture there, they're very stable. But you get in those little wee ones, they're not. They're very top heavy. So
what are the new ones at now? Aren't they 58 inches? Like again, forgive me. Like what are they? They're stupid now. Like I know the Polaris new turbo one. Do you guys know? I don't know enough about them, so I'm ignorant towards side by side. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, they're at least 60 inches. Like if you look at that, there's a turbo in there. That one on the right's the turbo there, the blue one, I think it is.
Okay. Yeah, look at that.
Or else it's this one. But look at how wide they are, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Wild.
If Michigan Outlaws is in, they'll chime in. How wide are those buggies? It's pretty crazy. But awesome. Like definitely we got to get John Luke to get us a demo one, and
I'd love to get out and do those. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'd love that. We'll do a video. John Luke, hook us up. Gary and I want to come out do a video, man, for sure. That would be awesome.
The up in Algonquin West ATV would be unreal with these things.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do that.
So David Mcclure, we have your next mountain sled, hill climbing sled on the next photo. Right there. Yeah, this is from Jimmy G. He's in Slats Hill, Big Sky, Montana, and it's a 1997 Summit 583.
I remember going to my local dealer and drooling over that sled with my brother. And that was a snowmobile kind of before its time. That sled was very capable in the mountains back then. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so funny back then, right? Like I often say that, like, look at the difference of that from the Summit back then, right? And then until you get up to that pyramidal design, rider forward, it literally, you can't even have words. It's like how far it's through your head, right?
Yeah. Actually, this one here is a 2000 Summit 700. It's got a 151-inch track. Stock all wear parts replaced and refurbished. He's got Simmons skis, V-Force 3 reeds, clutching, and a new 2-inch track. And that's at Buck Creek near Big Sky, Montana. That's December 19th of the last 2021.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, isn't that neat? I love it. That would be a fun sled.
It's amazing to see how everything's come so far, right? Like it's pretty wild, pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, you look at the I thought Roscoe was awesome, my 2009,
and it was, Gary.
I said, it still is, and I said to Corey, I can't believe how much taller the Renegade's a trail sled. It's not like an XRS or a Summit. It's a trail sled. I said to Corey, I can't believe how much taller it is, and Corey said, yeah, it is a lot better. And I said, I didn't say better. I said taller.
Yeah. You know what, Gary? Wait until, and this is where I love guys that, have the new stuff and that, but I'm seriously really looking forward to your input on that. And I want to get out and ride with you. And that's what makes it fun when you're like, oh my God, like this is, this and that and this. And you're honest too, as well. You're like, oh, this is what I like. I don't like whatever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Right on.
The QAS and the TX skis, those will be my biggest comments, I think, because I've got a love-hate relationship for them right now. Right. But we'll see what happens. I'll see how I like them. And a lot of people say they love them. So I've had Pasty Boy reach out and said, you're going to love them. His, carbides last forever. I know Mike Goulas, he runs them. He loves them. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So look at the Northern Lights here. Yeah. Look at the Northern Lights here. It's crazy. That's at Buck Creek near Big Sky.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. I'd love to see that in real life sometime. There was a photo on Facebook or Instagram someone posted with the Northern Lights behind their snowmobile. I went, man, it looked like a fake photo.
Yeah,
You know?
and everyone says that to me. I remember one time, I'm going to say about 20 years. My eldest is 25, so about 20 years ago, floating out out at the cottage on my back and seeing the northern lights, and it's like, am I really seeing
Wicked.
this? Like, is it
Wow,
what is?
eh?
And you can't explain it, right? So that's true. That's awesome. Right on.
Yeah. So this is from Dominator. He's in the chats. He says, "Hey Gary, here's some pics from our trip the week before Christmas up to Munising in the UP of Michigan. We arrived at Buckhorns Resort on Monday, December 20th. Lots of snow.
Right on.
Holy, yeah, nice old assault there too.
Yeah. What's in the background? What's that do?
That's a Renegade. It's a Renegade.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Right on.
Yeah,
Cool.
I can read the side. It says on.
Okay.
it's
Okay. Because I'm like, what does that say?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. It's pretty nice. And then this is some pics from. This is more pics from it, but look at the trails. They're mint.
Beautiful.
And he knows I like bridge shots, so he sent a couple bridge photos for us.
I can't wait that.
Look at.
I know. It's getting to the point now, Gary. I said to you, and I don't know, David, where you are, but the weather's been really mild out here. So I'm waiting on a couple of sleds, and I'm like, I said that to Gary. Like Gary got his. I'm like, that's awesome. It's good. And I'm like, I'm still waiting on mine, and I'm like, this sucks. But now that the weather's been cold here and snowy, Gary, I'm like, man, I need my sleds now. it's like, and then seeing shots like this, it's like, oh man. That's awesome.
It makes it all.
Great pictures.
Well, I said it before, is like, it sucks to have the snowmobile in the garage and you can't ride it. But then as soon as you get on the trail, you'd pay any amount of money to enjoy it. Right.
Yeah,
like
sure.
you could be on the crappiest sled. And if there was a snowmobile dealer right on that trail, you could sell a pile of brand new machines. I'm sure of it. Right. So do you do much trail riding, David?
Just to get to the mountains, every so often we'll be in an area where you've got to ride a little bit, 5 or 10 miles of trail to get to the hills. But, that was something Rob and we wanted to do. We wanted to go back to Minnesota and go rip the trails with Roger Skyme and just go on like a trail, 3 or 4 days of just ripping trails and put hundreds of miles on and stuff, and that's something I've never done, but definitely something I'd like to do. So
no, yeah, it's a different world. You'd probably be a little bit bored, but if you got in the right spot and the right conditions, you'd have a blast. I'm sure of it.
Well, like we were talking, I spent some time on that new Thundercat, and you get on a windy trail and power steering and heated seat and nice windshield. I could go for that.
I gotta say something.
Yeah.
So Gary, can I say something here? Can I step in my soapbox? Okay. So for everybody in Gary, you're okay with this, right? So everybody in the chat room. So I have an XCR 850 coming, and I gotta give a shout out to Clark from Bergstrom Skeggs, and I ended up picking up a Thundercat, a 60th anniversary. He's at our 9,000 Thundercat. So I've got that coming too because of the trips that I'm going to do. And I'm really looking forward to that. So David, hearing that, and Gary's been awesome too. He's like, Rich, you're going to love it. So I'm really, hence why I'm wearing Team Articat stuff, and shout out to Greg sometimes now, and a bunch of other people too, as well too. So I've got a XCR 850 coming and also a Thundercat. So that's awesome, David. So sorry to interrupt you.
I can ride the XCR 850 to keep the miles off of mine. That's
for sure. I know what, Gary. And you know what? And I'm looking forward to it because I've got a bunch of trips planned that are, up in Cochrane, Quebec, and I'm doing the New Brunswick trip with Neil, and I'm really looking forward to it. And Gary, you've heard me talk the last couple of years. I'm looking forward to trying a 4-stroke. And
you've been talking
guys. I'll either like it or I won't, and I'll be honest with everybody. But everyone that's talking about it says that I'm going to enjoy the sled. So I'm really looking forward to it, David. So I
think your wife will really like that 850 XCR and the man said the Thundercat. I think you'll like the Thundercat.
That's awesome. So there you go, Dodie. You'll like the Thundercat.
The heated seat is unrated or I don't know how you say it. It's
underrated.
It's underrated. The heated seats are underrated because a friend of mine had it on his Enduro, and it was like just a dream. Like once you get on it, like Dino borrowed it for a weekend because the boys were all using the sleds, and he goes, I don't want to get off this thing with the heated seat. And it wasn't even that cold out that day, but he goes, it's just an amazing feeling in your bottom.
Yeah. And
it's probably like an air conditioned seat in a car. We rented a Ford Exploder Platinum, and it had air conditioned seats down in Florida. And it was like, oh, I can get into this now. It was air conditioning parts of your body you never even knew you had.
And Gary, it's funny you say that, because when I ordered this, so the sled comes with electronic power steering, the Attack suspension, the new clutch, David, which maybe you can mention about, the auto adjustable clutch for belt deflection and stuff. And I'm looking forward to it. And I thought, you know what, this is going to be awesome. And everyone says the heated seat you're going to love, especially in Quebec in minus 40-degree weather. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Slobey even said, as Greg said, like Slobey says, you don't know what you're missing out until you ride a sled with a heated seat. It's true.
Exactly, right? So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Hence why everybody, I'm wearing Arctic Cat gear. It was funny. I have people on my Facebook saying, what's with the Arctic Cat gear? I'm like, I got a couple of sleds coming. I got the Polaris XCR and I grabbed the Thundercat ZR9000. And thanks out to Clark at Bergstrom. So,
yeah,
thank you for
the only thing I'm really blown away by is that they couldn't do something with the gauge on that thing. You got an awesome sled, and then it's got this gauge that's, you know what I mean? It's kind of,
for sure.
So you're going to mount a GPS though, right?
And I will, but you know what, Gary, reaching back to that, and again, not throwing shade at anybody, but you look at most people with the new BPR gauge, like,
yeah.
The guys, they're throwing Garmin's on top of it because it's small.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, and guys, I'm not being brand biased. All the manufacturers make amazing stuff. That Polaris 7S gauge, no one's going to touch it. I'm sorry.
No,
it's beautiful. It's amazing.
It's
and BPR, they make amazing sleds. So does Arctic Cat. So does Yamaha. Like, so it is what it is. And you're right, Gary. Like, so I'm going to throw a Garmin on top of my Arctic Cat gauge, for when I'm traveling up
nice.
In stuff. So it is what it is, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, I wasn't saying that to diss it.
No, I didn't mean that, Gary. That's not what I meant. That's I hear you.
And Arctic Cat, Arctic Cat's kind of, hearing that more and more. And so I think they have maybe an accessory gauge through Garmin that's plug and play designed for the Arctic Cat. So you may look into that. So
yeah, well, nice. So it's funny you say that, David. I've ordered it's called the Tread Garmin, which is the display, and I'm going to put that on top. So nice. I've got that coming for my Thundercat. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought you said you ordered a Tread. I thought you said you ordered a Plaid, a Tesla Plaid.
Gary, shit! You think I make that much money? No. I ordered the Tread Garmin, which Arctic Cat kind of teamed up. And David, you could correct me if I'm wrong on this with Garmin, and it's called the Tread Garmin, and it's Arctic Cat's got a mount that goes on top of it, and I've ordered one of those. So
yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I've just kind of seen it in passing, so I'm stoked that Cat's coming up with something. So
yeah, for sure.
So not to stick on this, but do you know what the date is when it's coming in, Rich? Like, do they know?
So same as my Polaris. So originally my Polaris was supposed to ship on December 15th, and that changed, and they're like sometime in January. So this is where I shifted my ideology of like, okay, you know what, I want to. Again, and Gary, I mentioned this last year. I'm like, you know what, I'm doing a lot of trips and stuff, and I don't want to have to worry about oil. So I started leaning towards the 4-stroke, and I'm like, you know what, that Thundercat's piquing my interest. So I spoke to a bunch of people. I spoke to Clark. I spoke to Jeff at STV, and they're like, listen, great sled. Awesome. You're going to love it. It's got some great, things that you'll love about it for snowmobiling. So that's when I leaned towards it, and I was blessed and ended up finding a fella that backed out of his, snow check, and I ended up picking it up. Yeah, I ended up picking it up, and so they're both supposed to come in January. The T-Cat is supposed to ship on January 5th from Arctic Cat. So fingers crossed, I see it mid-January. So,
and not only that, it's the world's fastest production sled. So there's that too.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, and this is the thing, Gary. We've mentioned this before. The 998 motor, the Yamaha motor, like, I don't think you can go wrong with it. It's amazing. The front end too, everyone I've talked to says it handles amazing. the attack suspension, it's not like the BRP. So the BRP auto adjusts where the cat, you're manually picking soft, medium, firm, right? So it's similar.
Yeah.
And they've had it. And the Fox suspension's supposed to be awesome. And David could probably attest to that too, as well too. So we'll see what happens. And you know what? I'm looking forward to it. I can honestly say now I've owned one of every manufacturer, and I'm really looking forward to this Arctic Cat. So yeah.
Read that. What's up on your screen there, Rich?
Our guys in Canada will need heated seats, seeing how they're locking down again. Yeah, good point. Good point. Sometimes now, yeah, right, for sure. So
yeah, oh yeah,
so
it's
I'm looking forward.
Hopefully that's a short-term thing. So
yeah,
but, no, that's good. So we're gonna move on here.
Yep, for sure.
So no, that's good. Congratulations. It's exciting. I know
thanks,
you
guys.
told me and I knew the cat was out of the bag when I seen your new profile pic on Facebook.
Well, you know what, Gary, we talked about it because I reached out to you. I was keeping it on the low, David, until it was actually signed, sealed, and delivered. And I said to Gary when I first mentioned to him, I'm working on something. And then when it came through, and I let him know, and I thought, well, I'll let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. So hence why I'm wearing this stuff. So
yeah. So David Snowstorm wants to know if he says, okay, David, spill the beans. Is Cat going to have a new chassis and motor next year to compete with the 850s ?
Oh boy, that's putting a guy on the spot.
I'm going to grab a beer, guys. Sorry, Gary, just to let you know where I'm
going. I don't know how to answer that question. I guess all I can say is I'm going to the photo shoot here soon to shoot photos on the new sleds. And I don't know exactly what we're going to be seeing. I can say that I have ridden the new mountain chassis, the new mountain sled, and it's awesome. And I'm super pumped on it. But I don't know exactly when it's going to come out.
Awesome. Well, you know what? If you don't, no one watches the show, as you know, right? So if you want to leak a few photos, we don't mind accidentally showing them, So
yeah, there's a couple on my phone, but I would get in a lot of trouble if I showed that phone up on the screen. So.
Well, you talk to the people, let them know when we're okay to show it. So Uncle Buck wants him to bring back the ZR 900 Twin.
That would be awesome. Yeah, the old 900 King Cat, that was a formidable sled. And I remember battling against a 900 King Cat. My buddy had one, and at the time I had a 06 800 Rev Skidoo, and man, it was that 900 would get me more times than not. So
yeah, all for sure. Well, that's the thing. The F7s were faster than the old Do 800s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So. Well, and when you guys showed that Skidoo Summit, and I have a friend that I told him, I was like, he had a certain budget, he was looking for a sled, and I was like, find a 05, 06 M7, and he did. He found one that was super clean, and I think this Saturday he's going out with us. Here I am on my big fancy 2022 sled, I guess it's a 22. I get because I'm going to shoot the next year models. I always get the years.
It'd be 23 next.
Yeah. And here he is on the 06 M7, but still having just as much fun as all of us. So
yeah. My buddy had it was before E-Tech, so it was probably the 800 HO. It wasn't the P-Tech, and he's Skidoo, and he said that his friend had an F7 Arctic Cat, and he said the best day of his riding was the day that his buddy sold the F7 or something like that.
Those things were wicked fast. They put the power to the ground, and that's kind of where I'm at now with everyone has in the mountains, at least everyone has the 850 or the turbo, and here Arctic Cat, it has the little 800, and it's kind of like an M7. It keeps up with these big sleds.
They do,
and so it's kind of fun.
And it's funny. So when I was doing the history and figuring out of pulling the trigger, David, on the T-Cat, And Jeff from Snowmobile Television said to me, he goes, that chassis has been so refined from the very beginning. It's nowhere near what it was at the beginning, right? And everybody needs to remember that. And yeah, so, and the front end of those things, the handling is amazing. So I'm looking forward to it. And same with in the mountains too, as well. Like everybody said that they've made a lot of refinements to that chassis.
Oh yeah, that's like, I only know the mountains sleds, but like the 05 M7 compared to the, I think 2009 M8, huge improvements over those years, and just tweaking them all the time, and that's what we've seen with the Pro Climb and the Extender chassis, and so. Yeah, I mean, it's fun working with Arctic Cat. I know some of the engineers, and they over the years at times they'll listen to my input, and I can kind of see those slight changes that have evolved over the years, and that's one of my favorite parts of being in a position I am. So,
and that's awesome too, right? And Gary, we heard the same thing with the BRP ambassador from out west, right?
Oh, yeah. Dave Nerona. Yep.
Dave Nerona. He says the same thing. The engineers are listening, right? And they're going back and listening to what they're saying, right? And they're making all these refinements. And, I've said this since the beginning, and we know this. BRP back in 2000 made the massive adjustment from that rider forward position, right? From what we always did, the old sleds. And all of them, all the 4 manufacturers use that pyramidal design, right? And they're all there now. It's like a shoe. It's like a shoe. You can only make so many adjustments to them. They're all there. They're fine. Is some of the chassis a little bit heavier? Absolutely. But my buddy next to me could be 50, 60 pounds heavier than me. So at the end of the day, when you're splitting hairs, does it really matter? And that's the thing. So, and that's awesome to hear though, David. Like they said, you're giving you feedback. Dave Nerona, the same thing. The Polaris guys say the same thing. The Matrix chassis from the Axis, it's the exact same chassis. They just made some plastic changes, maybe in the tunnel, but the frame itself is identical, right? So we got to remember that. Oh, sure. When everyone's saying, "Oh, it's a new chassis," it's not. The pyramidal design is this exact same frame. They've tweaked the plastics, the gas tank, and part of the tunnel. So, anyways, sorry.
Anyway, Edward Abraham the third says, David Mcclure, a legend, diehard Cat fan, bleed green like my old man. Yeah,
that's
awesome.
That's awesome. Cool. That's what I've noticed over the years, and makes me so proud to be just a diehard Arctic Cat fan. Is we're all the same. Like at heydays, there will be a line of guys that have been coming to get the Team Arctic poster and autographs for 20 some years, and that's what's everyone will say. Arctic Cat fans are the most loyal fans, and I'm glad to be a part of that family. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'd agree. So this is from Mark Slayton. He says, "Hey, Gary and Rich, still sitting here in Western New York, waiting for some decent snow to arrive. So sending a few pics from last year's riding. The first is my wife and I are at our old Forge rental last February. And then the second is late January. He's launching from the parking lot in Old Forge. And there was deer around that area constantly. So those cabins are awesome.
Yeah.
Love to be there. So
sure.
And there his wife.
Gary.
Yeah, I love that. His wife's smart, very smart lady. Riding the dew there. Yeah. And even the deer know, they're looking at that going, wow, that's great.
That's a nice sled. Let's get out riding.
It is. So this is Bruce Stewart. Look at this beast. He says, hey, Gary, it's Bruce Stewart. Wanted to send you pictures of my first ride on the new sled in, wait for it. Oh, where do you think he was riding, Rich?
Oh, let's hear it.
He was riding
Tug Hill.
Tug.
Yeah, get on it.
Hill. He said he needed to get some long-awaited BRAP therapy in before the year ended. I just received my 2022 Renegade XRS 850 black and blue on Tuesday the 28th. I spent all day of Wednesday doing the mods to it. Still waiting for some parts from different vendors. I have so far done the following. He's got new torsion springs set up for his weight and riding style. Thanks to John at Accelerated Technologies.
Yeah,
that's great. Oh, yeah, for sure. CNA Pro XPT skis, 7.5-inch stud boy carbides. He's got TrackLink limiter strap adjuster. That's another one from John. Blue full belly skid plate, backwoods B&P bumper, waiting for the LED light still, blue hood, blue handguards. Oh, he doesn't have good lights. Auxiliary high beam lights. He's got Ski-Doo bar pad, E-Link plug, Carl Custer's 47 seat, knee pads, tunnel cover, tunnel mount, scratchers, Link gas can, oil caddy. So far, he loves her. She rides and handles better already than his late and great 2020 MXZ XRS 850. Can't wait to get all the snow he's been waiting for. Cheers and Happy New Year. I love the color of that thing, man.
Color.
It's
you know what, Gary? You know what he's
awesome.
missing? You know what he's missing, Gary?
What's that?
Stinger headlights, buddy.
He does. B2 Stinger headlights. He didn't get the Stingers.
Where?
He got something. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't get them. He says them there, but I can't read it. It's blurred out for some reason. So
all right.
I love seeing it up on the hoist there. It's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice colors.
Yeah, we won't hold it against Bruce Stewart. He's a big fan. So
absolutely.
he just shopped at the wrong spot to get his headlights, I think. So, but looking at it on the snow there, it looks great. You don't see any of that color. That's pretty cool.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. This one here, look at this SRX.
Oh, wow. That's an oldie.
That looks like what I started on. I started on a 300 Yamaha Enticer.
Nice.
So about the same vintage. I think it had ran that same hood and
yeah, they did.
Yeah. So.
My 440 Exciter was the same year, same hood, everything, but the SRX was nice. This is his vintage. This is a 1980. I believe mine was an 81. Nice. Yamaha SRX 440. So the 440 had a dual carbs on the SRX, where mine just had a single carb. 1,400 miles, hoping to do some vintage rides. Enjoy the show. Always look forward to Monday night. Have a happy New Year, Scott Bolden.
That single carb, though, Gary, I think it was a 65 mil carb. It was massive, or huge. 60.
Yeah.
It was huge. Yeah.
That
was a good sled.
But it was it would do 80 miles an hour, no problem. But the dual carb was nice. But yeah, that's a beautiful sled. I love it.
For sure.
He's got a different windshield on there too, so it's slightly different than my.
Yeah, that isn't stock. That isn't stock. It's different. Yeah. Cool.
So,
but nice colors, though, the gold and black.
Very nice. Yeah. And Ryan Smith says this is his new XRS Turbo.
Oh, nice.
She's finally home and complete. There we go. Looks great. Yeah.
Nice.
So
nice color.
Yeah. And then we got this is from Brad Bender. He says picture of my little sister. That's what she tells people because it's her sled on the left. And love the channel. Looking forward to meet and greet. P.S. I've seen you mention wraps. Is that okay? That's a side gig. I'd be interested in doing something. So sorry, I'm reading too far into that one. But
reach out to Gary for your sled wraps, buddy.
That's right, exactly. I did email him back on that. So then this actually came in last week during the show. This is one of the Powder Hounds, Colton. He was in the house there 2 weeks ago, and we did the live show. And there's Adam Furlong there on the left. So and Adam Furlong on the right. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Now was Furry left out for out west, Gary? He must have taken
tomorrow morning.
Okay, right on it.
Yeah. So
right on, Furry. Have a good safe trip, bud. Looking forward to your photos.
And we have and he bought a drone, so he's going to get some drone action out there. And
nice.
Another buddy of mine bought and his friend bought 2 new Summits out there, so they're waiting to pick them up on Wednesday. So
that'll be good.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
And we're gonna get some good footage, Gary. We're gonna get out and ride more this year. It'll be a good year. We're gonna make some hay.
Yeah. And there's another one in the trees, this is Gaspé Jungle, he calls it. So this is Quebec. But isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Have you ever snowmobiled north of the border, David?
I've been up in BC And I actually have some friends that come and ride here with me from Quebec. But
nice.
yeah, and they always talk about having me come out there to Quebec. So maybe one day. But haven't been to Alaska, and just the Western Canada is all I've been. So.
Right on.
Yeah, no,
that's awesome. So now we're getting into David's photos here, Gary.
We are. I mean, it's you know what? You're welcome to come up if you want to go trail riding. I know a guy with an extra sled. He'd put you on
absolutely. And you know what? Having said that, David, I'd like to get out west. And I said this to Gary, and Gary's like, "Yeah, we got to figure out. I want to do it before I get too old. I got to ride out west. Like what you guys do is." I don't know. I don't think I could do it, but at the same time, I want to attempt it at least, right? And say I've tried it because I don't know, man. Some of the views you guys, I don't know, man. Watching a lot of the guys that ride out west, those views at the end of the day when they show, it's like you can't even explain that, man. Like seeing the up in the mountains, God's country. I don't know. I mean, I love being out. I love being out in Quebec and Northern Ontario and being out in the forest and stuff, and that's amazing. But something about the mountains, man. I don't know, Gary. We gotta get out there, buddy.
I know. I think it's seriously. Like the Grand Canyon, where pictures would never do it justice, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But there's nothing compares to the ever-changing vistas of Mary Lake.
Yeah, it's true, Gary. But
here I'm gonna put this up here on the. There we go. So you giving some wakeboarding lessons here, are you?
Yeah, that's actually my buddy that's in the water, and then that's my boy. That was his first. I think
that's awesome.
I think he's surfing. He's trying to surf rather than wakeboard. And so I got a boat this year, and it was a fun summer where we were just at the lake. I live only 10 minutes from a really nice lake, and it just makes sense for me to have a ski boat. And so finally, after a lot of hard work, was able to buy one, and it's awesome family sport to I can see the kids progress so much each week when we go out, and so good times. So
that's cool. Yeah, wake surfing's another thing I'd like to try, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, sure.
As you can imagine, the lakes are pretty cold around here, but come end of June, they're bearable to get in, and we don't know any better. We just jump in and have a good time. So
right on.
You got a lot of pictures with the family or family
That's
guy.
Awesome.
I can tell that. That's great.
That's great.
Yeah, as I was sending those pictures, I was like, I probably ought to slow down I was just scrolling through my camera roll on my phone.
No, it's good.
I was like, geez, 90% of these are fam. So
that's good. That's great. And that's what's important. That's awesome. That's great.
We like to see it all. We like to see it all, right?
Yeah, so that's awesome. Wakeboarding.
There is again. There's a wakeboard shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Following his dad's footsteps, right? Getting out, being wild, and having a good time.
Yeah.
No fears.
Right.
Where's this shot? This is amazing. Nice waterfall.
Nice. Yeah. So that's in Yellowstone. And I got to be quiet on where exactly that is, but it's so we're in that next picture. At the base of it, we're in. So that's close up. That's hot water cool. At the base, and then cold water coming down from the waterfall. So like a little bit to the left of that picture, you can sit there and half the water, or half of your back is in ice cold water, and then your other half of your back is in scalding hot water, and so you kind of find that happy medium, and it's one of my favorite places in the world. It's just it's awesome. So I'll be sitting in those hot pools with my kids, and last year I took them for the first time, and my youngest daughter, my middle daughter, she was 4 years old, and here comes all these hikers, and they're like just smoked because they've been hiking the whole time, and they're looking at me like, how in the world did you get a 4-year-old up here? And I reluctantly said, oh, our horses are up on the bank up there. And so yeah, it's been fun. We do a lot of horse riding in the summer as much as we can, and you know, get access to these type of areas is like one of my favorite things to do.
So you can leave right from your farm and hit Yellowstone?
Yeah, within, like, that's a 2-hour drive to the trailhead, and then a couple hour, 2.5 hour horse ride back in there. So
oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. And it's a good spot to snowmobile too. That's another thing Jeff from SCTV or STV said. Hey, Rich is Yellowstone's is one of his favorite destinations.
So, Gary, and he said that the last episode was saying that's a bucket list, and I was saying to Neil, I want to get out to West Yellowstone, and they lifted. David, you could probably talk to this. It's been blocked from snowmobilers the last few years, and they've just lifted it again this year. That they've realized it doesn't affect anything to do with the ecosystem and whatnot. So I gotta get. So Gary, we have to get out to West Yellowstone and out west. No, I'm serious, Gary. We're gonna figure this out. We're going to figure this out because I want to get out and ride.
Instead of the BRAP Cancer, we're going to do a GoFundMe. GoFund the snowmobile sessions for a tour.
Seriously, Gary, honestly, it would be awesome to get out and ride.
Yeah.
Because West Yellowstone apparently is supposed to be amazing.
Yeah, my grandpa, he took us when we were young and we snowmobiled through West Yellowstone back when you could ride like 2-stroke snowmobiles through there. And I suggest everybody do it. It's awesome. I'll take the family, you know, just to like the actual park where everyone goes and drive around there. And I'll try to do that, you know, every other year or so with the family. And you know, we're so close, but I mean, I in 10 years, I couldn't see all of it. There's a lot to see there, and all the geysers and the wildlife, the moose and the elk and the deer and the wolves. And so it's cool being so close. So
Uncle Buck says the ever-changing vistas of West Yellowstone. Hey, but you can't use that slogan. That's my slogan. West Yellowstone can't have it.
Honestly,
I don't even know where that started. It was just something that popped.
I can't remember either. You brought it up last year. Oh, hey, Bruce Stewart.
I know. I see that.
$10, Gary.
Here,
changing in. Sorry, David.
I know. We got some house cleaning to do. Thanks a lot, Bruce Stewart. He says, here's the first $1 for the GoFundMe Western trip.
Nice.
Awesome. Hey, if that's American, that's like $100 Canadian, isn't it? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was only kidding about that. You know that. So, hey, listen, if anyone else wants to donate to the BRAP Cancer Foundation, snowmobilesessions.com.
The
link's still there. Yeah,
awesome.
I kept it open for tonight, so you can go on there, and then I'm hoping to close it all off tomorrow and get the charities paid up, and away we go. So if you want to slip on there now, snowmobilesessions.com, there's a link there, and just like Neil Owen said, put a tank of gas in there, and we're not riding right now anyway, so we might as well throw a tank of gas that way, and it'll help out, and maybe we can smash $5,200. Who knows tonight?
For sure.
So this is up at the top of the trailhead here, David.
Yeah, that's right where that waterfall is, just up top. You just that's where we tie up the horses and take off. So yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's the horse riding is actually kind of an adrenaline rush for me because well, those are gaited horses, so they're pretty fast walking, and it's just new to me, you know, and funny story, the year before we were heading back from the hot springs, and that on that trip my at the time 2-year-old I left at the camp with my wife, and she just you know, didn't want to, neither of us wanted to take the 2-year-old back in there. She was a little too young, and but my older 2 kids, they were asking the whole time, Dad, have you ever seen a bear? Do you ever see bears? And I'm like, yeah, kids, I see bears all the time. And, you know, they're always black bears. And, you know, in this area, well, actually in Yellowstone, there is grizzlies. But 90% of the time, what I see is a black bear. And they're more afraid of us than anything. And you'll just see their butts as they're running away. And so that's what I tell the kids. And sure enough, we come up on this black bear, and I spot it before the horses and before the kids. And I'm just like, oh man, just run away, please run away. And I've got a 6-gun on my side, and I'm prepared. But pretty soon the kids notice, and pretty soon the horses notice, and I'm just like, and this bear is not afraid of us at all. And I'm like, the kids are thinking in their heads, Dad's a liar. He said they run away, and this one's not running away at all. Well,
the grizzly,
man.
Yeah. Here's the thing: the bears in Yellowstone don't get hunted, so they're not afraid, And finally, I started hollering and hooting, and finally the bear ran off, and I didn't have to do anything else. But yeah, so the horse riding, it's always an adventure, definitely. So
that's cool. How many horses do you own?
I own 7.
No way.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I've got a couple colts that I'm in the process of breaking, and get those. Some of my horses are older, and so I've got the young colts to replace them. So one of those blue roans in the picture actually gave birth to the one colt. So it's kind of fun raising it from the ground up. So
that's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. There we are. Look at the mountains in the background there.
Yeah, that's the Grand Tetons in the background there. That's Jackson Lake. So yeah.
There is that your boat? That's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's the hometown lake there, and that's my boat. And so that's where we're at every chance we can in the months of July, August, September. So.
Oh, sweet. Look, there'd be a lot of horse riding in those hills, wouldn't there?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, there really is. Yep. So.
If you think new snowmobiles are expensive, so this is the new Yamahas you're showing? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, Gary, come on.
Oh.
I'm only bugging. Do you own these tractors?
Case?
Yeah.
International Harvester. Case.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, some of the equipment that I bought from my grandpa, and the tractor on that's hooked to the baler. It was kind of a project this last winter. I painted it and kind of refurbished it, made it look really nice, and did a new head gasket in it, and put some money into it, and I definitely I'm only running like 180 acres, so I don't have the capability of affording new equipment. So I just try to keep the old equipment running good, and just keep it running. And yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it. My grandpa kind of built that into me of just, taking pride in our equipment and keeping it in good shape. So.
That's great. Actually, awesome. Sometimes now says, yup, landscapers have boats like that. LOL.
That's awesome, David. Like those harvesters, that's big equipment, man. That
looks like a New Holland tine thing on there, not a case,
Yeah, it's a Vermeer, and it's just a hay rake. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I got to get your boy up here to help me with my graphics here with my vinyl. So
he's got the heat gun in his hand.
Yeah,
look at he's got good form there.
Yeah. I was telling him not to burn himself, but
he's like, Dad, those caution warning decals, they're coming off, man.
Yeah,
that's right. Exactly.
That's awesome.
So that's a 400, is it?
That's a 400 blast. Yeah, that's
okay.
Is that the blast?
Yeah,
thing?
that's an M blast, and so
they're supposed to be amazing sleds, David. Like they're supposed to be awesome.
They're awesome. They are the funnest sleds. And I talked to Arctic Cat Marketing, and I'm like, look, Arctic Cat is the only OEM out there that has this sled, kind of the mid-level, entry-level sled. And I'm like, we've really got to, let people know about this, because, here my 9-year-old, he just loved it. It was last year. It was funny. He wanted to ride a big snowmobile. So I put him on he insisted on riding my 800, and so I put him on my Alpha, and he ripped across the field, and he came back, and I could tell he was he was a little intimidated. It was a little much, of course, for a 9-year-old, they accelerate so hard. And then he hopped on the blast and grabbed a handful of throttle, and he's like, oh, I can handle this. And next thing you know, we're out on the dry farms, and he's jumping that thing, the tracks out of the snow and jumping it 20 plus feet. And I'm like, this is awesome, because they're just mellow enough power that it doesn't scare the kids, but then they still get around good. They kind of remind you of the old sleds, those old 300s, 400 twin cylinders, but this is a single cylinder. And so we built this sled up, and here he is helping me, and we skins, cut the tunnel on it, shortened the heat exchanger, put a aluminum tank and a little tiny seat on it.
You made it his, right?
Yes, yeah, and
awesome.
it was all I could do, because I was like, hey, you get to choose the wrap, you get to pick it out, and he loves Spider-Man, and so he picked a Spider-Man wrap. And I don't like Spider-Man. I don't like any of that
watch
stuff.
it. He might be listening. I think Peter Parker watches the show, so watch what you're saying there.
I've just never been a real
Spider-Man fan.
Yeah, Spider-Man fan. But I let him design the wrap. And I had a guy, he commented on one of my posts. He said, that's the coolest mod sled of the year.
That's
and he was
awesome.
talking
Did
about
you get a
my
picture
boy
of it?
sled. Oh, I think I've sent it to you guys.
We got him in here, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So it turned out awesome. And the key, we were trying to lighten that sled up as much as we can. And I actually just got a TKI belt drive in the mail last week. So with the idea that I think I've got all the parts where I can finish this sled, and I really want to just hang it from the scale and see how light we got it. And we've already been out a couple times on some good trips with that sled, and I've got a SSI big bore kit for it too. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the coming years that sled has a turbo on it, a single cylinder turbo.
Oh my God.
In the near future, yeah. As he needs it, as he needs the power, we can make that happen. So
what CC would the actual big bore kit make it?
It's a 450.
Oh, right on. And then how long is the track on that thing?
It's a 146, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
that's insane.
Yeah.
That would be
awesome. And they've hit it like I said, them obviously Arctic Cat makes for Yamaha. They hit it, the Blast and the what's the Yamaha one? Sorry. Anyways.
The Venom, is it?
Venom. Blast and Venom.
Yeah.
So they hit an area that's like for this age group. So, and that's awesome to see. So I hope all the other manufacturers jump on board too, right? They all help each other stay within the realm of growing the industry, and that's awesome. Oh, look at this, Gary. That's awesome.
Look at him putting the vinyl on. He's putting the
wrap on. That's awesome.
After
he shouldn't use that stuff. Don't let him use that stuff.
Well, but Gary, you're a pro, right, buddy? So.
He was, I was doing it. I was wrapping it, and because I wanted it to look nice and stuff. And after a while, he'd seen enough, and he's like, Dad, let me do it. And so he started putting the stickers on, and then he started talking trash. He's like, Dad, I put this one on way better than the one you put on. Like, that's awesome. My boy.
That's awesome. Yeah. And there's nothing better than having a little bit of jabbing going on, right? So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like when I ride out with my buddy Gary and Corey Brock, I'm going to be taking jabs, and they're going to be taking jabs, and it's all good.
Oh, we won't be taking it. It'll be all you. It will be.
That's all good. That's good.
That looks great. It's not distasteful, Spider-Man. It's really good. Look they got the Black Cats decal on there too. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. That's awesome.
Holy, look at
the wrap. Who did the wrap, David?
Octane Inc.
Okay, cool. Right on.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's even the monorail. Mm-hmm. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Holy. Yeah, look at the actual footwells there. It's wicked.
Yeah, it's got skins running boards, skins rear bumper, seat, tank, front bumper, SLP skis. It's got a lightweight titanium SSI can. It'll here this coming week. It's got Fox air shocks, TKI belt drive. I'm putting the new primary and secondary clutch on it, alpha jack shaft on it. So I'm going to even try to fabricate a vertical steering post like what the alpha has on it. So and then the octane wrap. So there's not a whole lot that hasn't been touched on that sled.
So you know what I want to put out there tonight, Gary? I'm putting it out right now. Our good friend Corey Brock's son, Dallas, has a
he needs one of those.
Listen, Corey, I'm putting this out there, Gary. I'm going to cover Dallas's wrap. No, I'm serious.
Are you right?
No. Dallas is going to wrap his cat. So, Gary, you're going to pull it up, and we're gonna wrap Dallas
for sure.
His sled.
But we let's wait till he gets his ZR 200. That's
for sure. No, whatever. Yeah. But he's gonna get his cat.
Did you see the video?
Dallas's sled. Yep. No,
Corey,
for sure.
Corey had videos on Facebook, and the kids ripping around the yard. He ran right into the house.
That's awesome. And I said to him, I'm like, he's gonna be a future cat thing. He's like, hell, he is. Oh yeah, no, he is. Yeah. So Corey, I'm putting that out there. We're gonna wrap Dallas's sled. So yeah. I'm going to cover that. Gary, you hear me?
Yeah. I don't think you're going to get a wrap on that kitty cat. He likes it stock.
Yeah.
But the ZR, when he gets his ZR 200, that's some little talk.
Yeah.
For sure. Look at that. That's nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. This year, I switched up my sponsors, and, we've been just kind of building the same sleds for the last 3 or 4 years, and Arctic Cat hasn't been changing a ton, as everybody knows. And so I wanted to, just kind of new sponsors kind of freshen, my outlook on the sleds. And I just kind of looked at everything out there in the industry, and I was like, these are the companies I now want to work with. And one of them was Skins. Skins makes a really awesome lightweight tank and seat, and running boards and bumpers. We've been friends with those guys for years, and they took us on, with a warm welcome, and so that was fun to work with. And then everybody around here typically rides a Skidoo or a Polaris, and they're all 850s. And I was like, what happens if we put a 900 in one of these Arctic Cats? What's it going to do to those 850s? And so SSI makes a 900 big bore, and like the nice. Tapio brothers, Hillclimber Racing, they've done well with the 900 SSI kit. And so with that, we decided to team up with SSI/BDX, and I actually went testing last week with the owners of SSI and BDX, and I was super impressed with their sleds. That green one, I'm waiting on a few parts yet. Hopefully this coming week, they'll all show up, and I'll get that 900 built and on the snow. That's just a little 146. So a 146 900 big bore. That thing really shouldn't even need those SLP skis. So
it must rip, eh?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So
nice.
And then the
nice
orange
wrap.
one. Yeah, the orange one in the background, that one's got that's new this year for a silver turbo. And again, everyone's riding these turboed mountain sleds. So I was like, well, let's put a turbo on the Alpha, and go just a pump gas turbo, and go rip around with all the friends that got the new stock turbo Skidoo or Polaris. So.
What's your take on turbos? I know when Nerona was on, he said you kind of need, like before the stock turbos come out, he said you kind of need 2 sleds, one turbo that's that you're tuning and setting up, and the one that you ride, right?
Yeah, I think back in the day that was the case. That orange sled, it's a silver turbo. This is the first year I ran the silver turbo, and I literally bolted it on. Downloaded the fuel map that they told me to, and went and rode it, and it's been great. I putted around 10 miles on a little going 14 miles an hour with the kids to a hot springs, and I just rode it like I did a little a stock sled, and it has worked out good. So there's definitely the days that you don't need a turbo, but those new turbos and like Silver, they've done their homework on this. It seems really reliable so far. So
right on.
This is that's Riley Kincaid. So as you guys know, I lost my best friend to an avalanche, Rob, so this year was, the previous year there was no heydays due to COVID, and then so we finally got back to heydays, and Riley, his son, and I, who's also a black cat, we just traveled together and had I told Riley, I was like, if you ever wondered what your dad and I used to do at heydays, this is exactly what we used to do. And I just who better to I was like a lost sheep without Rob at heydays, and I just bummed to not have my friend. Who better to have with me than my friend's son? And he had fun. I don't think he got too sick of me over the course of the 3-4 days, and it was a good experience. So
David, if you don't mind me bringing this up, if you don't want, that's okay too as well. But can you talk about Rob, because he was a huge influence, man? Like even his funeral, all the sleds lined up, and that was a huge loss to the snowmobile community. Are you okay to talk about that? And can you just let people out there know about Rob that don't know about what he did for the snowmobile community, and also for Arctic Cat and for yourself as well?
Yeah. I mean, life's not the same without Rob. Yeah. I've never lost somebody so close, in my life, and I know Rob would want me to not give up and not throw away my career, and there's points where I was just like, I can't do this without Rob. It was me and Rob. We did everything together. But I know, Rob would tell me God hates a quitter, and just keep doing what you're doing. And it's fun. It feels right that I can do it with Riley and kind of be a more of a spokesman and an advocate for avalanche safety. I've done, last year we did a level 1 avalanche course. I just got done doing a rescue course. So taking that as more of an initiative and more of a priority, trying to get the word out that, that is necessary. That's, it's the cool thing to do. It's what's required. I'm not going to let my boy go in the mountains into any avalanche terrain without a level 1 course. It's just how passionate I am about that now. But yeah, I mean, Rob was just a great friend. And there's a lot of times that I'll just think back. I'm like, if Rob was here, what would he be suggesting I do? What would he be doing? And I've kind of had to put myself in check quite a bit without him here, and just a great role model for all of us. I think like the ARI, the avalanche, research, they've said last year there was a huge influx of people, interested in getting more avalanche safety training, and that's what that would make Rob proud. I mean, that's good. It sucks. It took a tragedy like that to kind of open people's eyes, including mine. I had taken courses in the past and actually helped put courses on. But I mean, it's just to show that no matter what, it doesn't matter who you are, bad things can happen, and sure, accidents can happen and stuff. So,
and he touched a lot of people's lives. I know David from 509 said the same thing, Gary, last year. He was such an individual, and I don't know him myself. I'm just going on what people I've talked to that that came across his path of how amazing and down to earth of a person he was. And yeah, it's great. And that's why I wanted to ask you about him. So, and that's amazing to see his son, you know, kind of picking up the gauntlet type thing and carrying the torch forward with you as well, you know, with your guidance and stuff. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Where are we now here?
Yeah, there we go. Look at this
dirt biking.
Yeah, that's just, you know, 10 minutes from my house, just a little dirt bike trail that we can go on with my boy. I was like, you know, it was hunting season and I was busy hunting, but the fall colors were so beautiful. I was just like, yeah, I gotta stop what I'm doing and just take him out, you know, and let him see the beauty. It's, as Rob would say, it's God's country, and man, we're blessed to live where we are. So.
Yeah, wow, that's
awesome.
that's unreal.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a postcard, man.
Yeah,
look at the view behind
awesome.
there too.
That's awesome. Yeah.
What is that? A little 110 or 150? Oh, it's an 80.
No, it's a 110.
That's a 110.
Is it right on?
Yeah,
that's
nice.
awesome, right?
Yeah, they're cool little sleds. EFI, they're awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, they got
little bikes, not sleds.
Yeah, like they've got that's a small wheel. They've also got a big wheel that's more of an adult size frame on them too. That's neat. Yeah. Honda's got it there, man. You want to get your family into motocross? They've got a great line
for
of bikes.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a nice cat.
So,
nice.
Not nice.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Is this your ride here that we're looking at?
Yep. That's my 900 big bore.
Nice.
So yeah, it was, you know, like working with Ice Age, and actually Fox. That sled doesn't have the new Fox lightweight coilover shocks that just showed up last week. So I'm just pumped on my sleds this year. They look different than they have in the past, and we just kind of you know, changed them up quite a bit. And for both Jason and I, it kind of sparked some new life into us. And you know, we're both excited. Just as I've said before, you know, the chassis staying the same, so we're tweaking it ourselves. So
yeah. Tony Cat
awesome.
says, Dave, where was the best place you rode? Do you have a favorite?
Great question.
Man, yeah, like well, we were talking about, you know, where I've ridden in Canada, and you know, I was thinking, geez, I've been to Iceland, Sweden, Norway, Japan, and probably Japan.
Really?
I loved Japan, and I would go back there in a heartbeat. Partly because of the people, and partly because of the snow. The snow is just awesome. And when I've been there, the locals, you know, have said that it's not the best conditions ever, but you know, it was plenty good for me. It was fun, and just seeing, you know, a different. Rob and I, we started traveling around in the United States, and after a while we got bored with that, and then we started doing the international travel, and you know, that was just between his personality and you know, just us just being so wide-eyed and you know, oblivious to the outside world. Those trips were the funnest. So
you know, and Rob, sorry, Dave, you saying that is amazing, because Chris Reed from Yamaha Motor Canada, the old snowmobile rep for Yamaha Canada, said the same thing. He said riding out in Japan is unreal in the mountains. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people have done that, because everyone always kind of stays over in North America. So that's cool that you said that. So it must have been pretty different, right? Yeah,
the snow, they call it Japao, and I think the temperatures are more consistent over there. Right. So our snowpack here, we get these you know, dumps of snow, and then it'll get, you know, warm and kind of get a crust layer, and we have all these different layers in our snowpack. Where in Japan, which also makes the avalanche conditions worse, where in Japan they have more consistent temperature ranges, so the snowpack is more consistent and less prone to avalanche. So all those factors just factor into some awesome riding, and the terrain is very similar to what I'm used to like at home. So it's just, yeah. But it's funny, Rob and I, we were so excited to go to Japan the first time, because we both love seafood and sushi and stuff like that. And oh man, the food over there was not what we were expecting. I mean, the first hotel we went to, the continental breakfast, we looked around and we're like, dude, I would fish with this stuff, but I am not about to eat it.
So David, sorry, I got to say this again, going back to that, you have a vlog out, do you not, with this? Because I remember watching this, right? Am I correct?
Not a vlog, but there was a lot
YouTube, right?
Yeah,
I remember watching this when you guys were over there.
Yeah, I think 509. So McKinney, David McKinney, he went with us, and
McKinney shared the photos.
Okay, so that's what I was doing, because I remember the story.
Yeah.
I remember the story. That's why I'm bringing it up. Sorry, forgive me there for that. Yeah.
But so we hated the food, and they finally, it's kind of through Hillclimb racing is how I met my friend Misao, and Misao is I think the only or the biggest Arctic Cat distributor for Japan, and then he's got a couple other friends that help translate, and so just Misao figured out that we didn't like the food, and we were not doing good on the food. But they started taking us to like these hibachi grills where we could
meat.
Yeah, just and I mean, Rob, we would just gorge ourselves on this meat. Rob would get the meat sweats at night, and just it was fun. Just going into those restaurants, and you walk in and there's 100 pairs of shoes on the ground. Everyone takes their shoes off, and then I got some awesome pictures of Rob. We can only sit Indian style on the ground for so long until we're Rob and I, we're not small, we're just like uncomfortable. We just want to sit in a chair and eat our dinner, but just great memories and good times. So
that's awesome. Now, how long ago was that, David? How long ago was that?
Oh man, I think it was 17 or 18 was the last time we were there.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, not too long ago.
Right on.
So yeah,
that's awesome. I do remember seeing that somewhere. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. McKinney shared the photos and had the stories.
I remember seeing that somewhere. That's awesome.
So,
wow, that's a nice buck. 1, 2, 3.
Everybody likes nice racks on this show, so you brought the right pictures.
Nice. Yeah,
10-point buck. 10-point buck.
A 6-point bull elk. So
okay, nice.
Yeah. So
nice.
that was in Wyoming this last year. Rob kind of got me. I've always been a hunter, but once I started hanging out with Rob, he kind of taught me how to trophy hunt, and I remember I was building my house, and I was like, man, I've never killed anything sufficient to mount to put in my house, and that was kind of the turning point of my hunting career. And this year I was on my own, and that's the first time I've killed a bull elk and did everything and packed it out on my own. It was a fun trip, and sure enough, hit a snowstorm on the way out. So.
Right on. That's pretty cool.
There's another picture here. Look at that. What a beast.
Oh, wow. What a rack on that, bud. Nice. Got some good meat out of that, right?
Yeah, that's all we eat. That's,
sure.
I usually shoot at least a deer and elk every year, and that's what my family eats all winter and all summer. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Very nice. It's a big one. This is the shot, Rich, right there. Look at this. That's a ZR 200, right?
That's me on the
what? Like that? That's a marketing brochure,
right?
I know.
Right.
Like seriously, you can't get any better than that. That's awesome. It's
awesome?
funny. Gary and I were talking about that yesterday. I'm like, I was talking to him about a 360 camera. He's like, it's a lot of work doing. What a wicked shot. That's a wicked shot.
That's my boy. He was one of the talent riders riding the 200 last year. So
that's awesome.
So he's actually in the Arctic Cat brochures.
Yeah. For model year 22. Every picture of a ZR is that's him.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. He's a Macaulay Culkin of snowmobiling. Wait till he finds out. Wait till he finds out what he
down
what
the road.
He's
He's gonna be like, yeah, I was the bee's knees.
Yeah. He's gonna say, I should have got this for that shoot.
Right.
Yeah. You know, they let me buzz around and no thanks. Right. That's cool. There's awesome. A nice 8-pointer.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah. That was kind of a fun story. Rob always talked about his buddy Neil from Kentucky, and he kind of always kept Neil away from me because that was his buddy that he got to go to Kentucky and to Kansas to hunt with, and once Rob passed away, Neil reached out to me, and he was bummed and mourning the loss of his good friend, and he invited me out to Kentucky, and I was like, it's not every day that you get invited to go hunt with a guy in Kentucky. So
That's awesome.
I took him up on it. And I mean, I remember driving out to his house, and I kind of got a little anxiety. I was like, I'm driving out to this guy. I don't even know who he is. Never met him. I'm going to stay with him for 3 or 4 days and his family, but we hit it right off. He was an awesome guy. His family was great. And we had good times telling Rob Kincaid stories back and forth. Awesome. And we both learned, more about him. And it was good for our souls to, kind of, we both miss him so bad. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And that's awesome. On your way down, you're probably like, you know what? If he's a good buddy of Rob, then he's going to be awesome, right? So
yeah, that was in the back of my mind. I'm like, if he was buds with Rob, I'm sure we're going to be fine. And sure enough, we're actually going to Alaska on a caribou hunt this August. So it went from not even knowing each other to now we're buds. So.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's awesome. So that was meant to be too, right? So you'll end up hanging out with him every year. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
The couple questions here. What caliber rifle that you got there?
30-06.
I've had a lot of people ask me that question with this picture. That is a 6.5 PRC, and that's a Christensen modern precision rifle. Is the rifle. So
sweet.
That looks
military.
It does. Well, so that's because I'm looking at my.
Is that an AR?
When I used to hunt with my 30-06, I'm like, it didn't look like that.
Right. So that's got a folding stock on it.
I was looking at that. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Wild.
So the stock will fold. So that's kind of like my deer rifle. I can fold the stock and throw it on my back on a backpack, and it's just the overall length of the rifle is smaller. So.
Right.
Very neat. Yeah, and I did get that wrong. It's a 10-pointer. I missed the too low on the front there.
Oh, did you Sorry, picking the fly shit out of the pepper? Yeah. People corrected you, Gary.
It's Greg. It's okay.
That's okay. That's awesome. Right on.
There we go. Was this New Year's Eve?
No, that was middle of December at Disney World. We took the kids to Florida. My wife, she's awesome. But I have to schedule all my vacations around the work schedule and snowmobile schedule. So usually December is a good month. It's kind of right in between show season and whenever we actually get snow to ride. So we try to take the kids on a fun vacation every December, and this year we were in Florida and got to do the whole Disney World and Universal Studios, and we needed a break after our vacation because I think we were putting on like 8 to 10 miles of walking per day. But good memories with the kids. They were stoked, and they're perfect age to be there. So
everyone's just too nice at Disney. We had to go find somewhere just to yell and swear at each other after we left the park because it was a nice overload there. Bruce Stewart says nice. I run a 6.5 Creedmoor.
Oh yeah, so the 6.5 PRC is just a tweak off of the Creedmoor. My brother-in-law shoots a Creedmoor, so
yeah. And sometimes now says I'm critical rich. Got to keep an eye on Gary. Next thing you know, he's telling you he caught a 2-foot fish out of that boat. I did catch a 2-foot fish. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I love
awesome.
this photo.
Oh,
This looks
wow.
like a David McKinney shot.
Yeah,
For sure.
that was one of the marketing guys at Arctic Cat. His name's Tristan Ironi, and it's funny. Rob always gave me a hard time about like being horrible at taking photos, and I don't like being bad at anything. So I really try to take photos. And I remember I sat up and I quickly took a photo, but I didn't take it at this angle. I was taking it the other angle, and Tristan grabbed his phone and he took that photo, you know, in the right direction. And we got back and we were eating dinner at Togedy, you know, Lodge, and I showed him my picture and he showed me his. I'm like, whoa, like I do suck at taking pictures. So, but yeah, that was he did good on that one. So
yeah, the shadows are perfect, right? I can't believe that was shot with an iPhone. What the heck?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, for sure.
Holy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is
There
a
we go.
great picture. Oh, there we go.
He's saying, what do you mean I got to do my homework tonight? Sitting there with the gun in his hand.
Yeah, that was my boy's Christmas present. He because I have a 6.5 PRC, it makes sense for him to have a 6.5 PRC so we can share ammo. So
look at amazing, Dad. I'm coming up with you. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of been my focus. He gets to do hunter safety this year and hunt
awesome.
this coming year. So yeah, I'm kind of getting ready for slowing things down and taking the kids hunting and yeah. He was pretty pumped on that rifle. So
that's awesome.
Nice.
Right on.
You got to love
that's the same thing, right? You'll get out and hunt and snowmobile. So wow, look at that family photo.
I know, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
you guys going out for? Is this a Christmas card photo, or are you going out for dinner? Or?
That was church, like right before Christmas. So, or I guess Christmas was on Saturday, so that was the day after Christmas. So,
right on.
So,
right on.
Now, Canuck Power Sports. Ryan says, "Do you do any long range shooting? Precision long range?"
Yes. So the Thompson long range, the rifle I usually shoot is a 3378, and that's made by Thompson Long Range, who, believe it or not, the team captain for the Skidoo Hillclimb team was Mark Thompson, and this is a side business of Mark Thompson's, and then his son Scott Thompson. So through snowmobiling, I met these guys. And even though they're Skidoo riders, I bought one of their rifles, and their guns are accurate out to 1,000 yards. So to answer the question, I've got a 1,000-yard target at my place. I've got a 500-yard target and a 400-yard target. So all those from my front deck, or from my deck of my house, I can shoot those different targets and practice. But I think the longest I've ever harvested an animal was like 660 yards. So I practice out to 1,000, but there's a lot to that long range game that I try to get as close as I can. So
right on. Sometimes now says, man, Gary, do you think David will adopt us? We could bring all those toys and playing out in the fields with the big tractors.
I said, I am coming down. I know, here I come.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Look at this shot too. That's neat.
Yeah,
all
that was
sleds lined up.
That was last week. We
really.
Yeah, it's so cool. We ride 10 miles one way to a hot springs, and it's I think I sent you guys a picture. There's of the hot springs.
It's next, yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Right on.
So yeah, we ride out there, and yeah, it's just like a dang swimming pool, and it's spring fed. So the one end of it, the water just dumps out, and it's just continuous water flow into the hot springs. So this trip, we took a couple neighbor friends of my kids. So my daughter's in the purple, and my boy's on the far right in the blue. And
cool.
we took the 3-year-old, but boy, I learned something that I should have known. It was 9 degrees for the high that day, and I don't think I'll do that trip again with a 3-year-old with it being 9 degrees. It was brutal on the way back, but we go there at least once a year. It's a fun trip. So
That's cool. Yeah, I love the sleds there. That's great.
That is a wicked shot.
Yeah, so the 200 Arctic Cat, another sled that's unique to Arctic Cat. Those 200s are just awesome snowmobiles. Really capable. They go in the deep snow way better than like a 120 does. And then we got the Trail Blast, and then my boy Spider-Man Mountain Blast, and then that's my turbo sled. And so I was literally for 10 miles on the trail, just doing 12 miles an hour, with the kids. So, or no. The 12 miles an hour used to be the 120. The 200 will do 24. So we were doing 24 miles per hour.
See, and that's awesome. Going from the 120 to the 200 is like a huge leap, right? Like,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a huge stepping stone, right, for the kids.
Yeah,
for sure. That's awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, I just like. Do you guys swim in that in the wintertime? Like you just take off your snowmobile gear and jump in?
Yeah, you just put your swimsuit on underneath your gear, and as soon as you get there, you just strip down, and there's the changing room there where you can. It's somewhat heated, so you can dry off and get warm again, or hurry and get your clothes on, and then burn out of there. So.
Oh, is that Yellowstone then?
No, it's not far from Yellowstone. That's kind of in between Jackson Hole and Alpine, Wyoming. So is where that spot is. So
nice. We won't talk about what's in the shot here, but it's last time we showed something like this, they demonetized me on the video. It was thanks to Ryan at Canuck Power Sports.
It was accident, say.
It wasn't demonetized. It was not suitable for all advertisers.
A buddy of mine sent me this picture with zero caption. Just sent me the picture, and I responded. I said, "Did the thing get hit by a train?" And he never responded. And man, I posted that on my Instagram story, and I mean, I guess because everybody is waiting for those Polaris Boost sleds, and here people haven't even seen them, and here's one that's totaled
flattened.
Yeah, and so finally.
The Matrix, because of the plastic piece there. That's the Matrix. It's flat.
Oh yeah. And it's funny to finally
bent right upside down.
Yeah. You can't tell which way is right side up on that thing.
Exactly, it's flat.
Finally today, my buddy texted me the story, and I guess the throttle stuck wide open, and the bad thing is it wasn't insured at the time, so he's trying to figure that out. So
insure it and then go ride it for a week, if you know what I mean.
Oh no.
yeah. So but yeah, there was a lot of people comment, and there was a lot of Polaris racers. They were wanting to buy parts off of it. People were wanting the track, and it was
Now, David, I gotta ask, like, I'm looking at that, what happened to that? That's flat.
It rolled, I think, a few times.
Yeah, but Gary, the front of the pod is at the back of the track. Look at it. Like, you can't.
Yeah, I know. And it's flat.
Yeah.
Wow. And like, see Polaris on the side, that their side thing upside down.
See behind the word Polaris? That's at the front of the pod. That's the gauge.
I know.
And the front ski is right above the word R. See the shock?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's like it got ran over by a steamroller.
Yeah, can you imagine that snow was $18,000 to $20,000
at least,
and
and guys are still waiting for them to show up, and this guy flattened it how long ago?
20 miles, and that's what it ends up like.
Yeah. Oh well, such is life, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, for sure. Stuff happens, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's awesome.
Another nice one.
Actually,
Uncle Buck goes, that'll buff right out. Greg says that's Polaris's new chassis, top secret photos. That last photo. Yeah.
That's the new Silver Turbo. So.
Oh, nice.
That was after we've had a lot of snow lately. For December here in Idaho, Western Wyoming, we got a good start on the season. More snow than we've had in years for this early. So everyone's been out enjoying it, and that was me last week. So
right on. That's a nice wrap, man. Very nice.
Ryan from Canuck Power Sports, there isn't even a Kijiji side left on that Czech crash sled.
It's flat, eh? Hey, Gary, I got to give a shout out to my eldest son, Zachary's good buddy, Connor McClure. He moved out west. Great guy. Handy.
Nice.
Yeah, in his own construction company. So, hey, Connor, good to see you on here.
Oh, sweet. He's in here?
Yeah, he is. Connor McClure.
Yep. Oh, Connor McClure. Yep.
He's from my area here, and he moved out west, and yeah, he's a great trades fellow, and he's out west in BC. So he's
that's sweet, man.
Yeah. Good shout out to him.
That was that's great. That was the all the pictures that David sent in. If anyone has any other questions for David, fire them up in the chat. That's really good. Corey Brock says that was a player's headlight delete, Rich. You're looking at there.
Yeah.
Well, there'd be a lot of comments, but I wouldn't want to be the guy that owned that, right?
No, man. I'd like to know the story behind that, though. Like, that sled was flat.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Yeah.
But
Connor McClure gives you a little aloha there for you too. So
right on.
That's good. But yeah, thanks a lot for spending the time with us tonight, David. That was great. I really appreciate it. We learned a lot of great photos.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always nice kind of broadening our horizons and meeting new people. And it's what I've always learned. It didn't matter if I was in Scandinavia or Japan, we're all the same. We're all just passionate about the sport, and we love it. And you can total strangers and instantly be friends. So it's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And thanks.
It's funny how small it is when we're sitting here talking. It's going, well, there we go. We had David McKinney showed that photo, and it's like people that we had on had talked about it, right? So it's funny.
Yeah, no, it was finally nice to get an Articat factory fell on. So thanks, David. I appreciate that. It really is.
Absolutely,
really is awesome.
And David, if you know anyone else that would benefit from being on like this. Make sure you let them know you had a good time on here. If you had a good time, you might. If you didn't have a good time, then that's understandable.
No,
but
it's always fun talking about snowmobiles, and you guys are awesome. So thanks for the opportunity.
Yep. And everybody in the chat saying thank you too, David. Pro Polaris, a bunch of guys are like, thank you for coming on the show tonight. So it's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, that's the third brand off the list now. So we just got to get Yamaha on and Taiga. We got to get Taiga.
Yeah, Taiga too. Yeah. They're rolling off the sleds too now, right?
And then we'll have them all checked off. We can retire at that point, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What's Snowstorm saying? Dave, if we were buds, you would have spilled the beans. LOL. He was asking about the new models.
All I can say is
not real buds if you're not.
There's some really cool stuff coming that I'm super pumped on.
That's awesome.
That's about all I can say, unfortunately.
Well, that's good. You know what, Dave? That's breadcrumbs, and that's awesome. That's what some Articat faithful want to hear, and also snowmobile fans in general, no matter what you ride, right? That's awesome to hear, because Gary and I have often said this. It's great riding whatever brands we have, but I think it's very important that there's 4 manufacturers in the industry. It pushes all of them, so that's awesome.
Yeah. There's a bright future for
what you're saying.
That's awesome.
What you're saying is that Rich should have waited a year. Is that kind of what you're saying?
No, I listen. I'm going to be happy with my 60th anniversary Thundercat. And David, you rode it, right? You said it was a nice sled,
it's a beautiful sled. It's awesome. It's exhilarating to ride with that big power and stuff. And I truly, honestly, do not know when the new sleds are coming out, but I'm hopeful soon, and they're awesome. So
That's awesome.
Rich, that badge on the front, I seen it in real life. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's
it's
right,
like it's like a Ski-Doo 50 edition. That there was one in the shop that night. It's like, and the decals, like with all the heritage logos and everything.
Yeah,
that's what
you said. Furry's buddy who rides out west had one. He had a Alpha Cat. Well, David, he had a mountain Arctic Cat out there, and Gary said that he goes, it looked really, really wild. With the 60th
that chrome.
anniversary.
Yeah, that chrome badge on the hood is something else. It's
because
awesome.
I was saying to Gary's going to do my serial numbers for the Polaris and the Cat, and I said to Gary, like, Arctic Cat incorporated all the logos from 60 years in that decal on the side in halftone, so it looks wild. I'm looking forward to it. So, and I'm sure Gary's going to do a wicked set of numbers for me. So
yeah. Sometimes now says you would see that badge, Gary. It's on the front of the T-Cat. LOL. No, all I see is wouldn't you? All you see is a tail light of that. Then, if that was what your theory is. And Gary Old Kitty says, Dave, I hope to catch up with you in Oregon next week.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm headed to Oregon to like the Oregon State Snowmobile Association. I'm the keynote speaker, I guess, at their association meeting. So I think I fly out on the 13th of January to Oregon. So that'll be good times. Going to spend a couple days riding. Riley Kincaid's going with me as well. So that'll be fun.
Right on. So will there be video? Will you guys have something on the Cat channel or anything about that, or
we'll probably post stuff on our both our social media platforms, right. And that's about all I know of for sure right now. Okay. So
now, David, that's a good point. Where can people find you on social media?
So my Instagram is DMC150, and then on Facebook you can find me at David Mcclure 150. And those are my two and a lot of people message me, and I try my best to get back to everybody. And I got it's fun because like this dealer used to bring 50 guys out from Iowa and to ride with Rob and I, and over the years I've stayed in touch with almost all of them, and they message me, how's the snow conditions out west, and I can quickly get back to them and save them a bunch of time before they drive clear from Iowa out, and so yeah, that's how I got to go to Scandinavia. It was a guy messaged me on Facebook. He's like, hey dude, I love your front bumper on your snowmobile, where do I get it? And I told him, and I said, I see you're from Norway or Sweden. I'd love to go to Sweden. And 2 months later, Rob and I were headed to Sweden. So it's been fun. You never know who's going to reach out to you on social media. So
that's awesome. Right on. Cool. Oh, Gary, we lost your audio, bud.
Oh, I'm on mute. So
there we go.
No, I was just going to say, make sure you subscribe to those social channels, but also subscribe to MUDBRATS, SnowBrats if you're not, Rich Outdoors if you're not subscribed, and give this live stream a thumbs up before you head out the door. And we'll sign off now, but we'll look forward to seeing everyone next week, and we'll chat soon. Pray for snow. Do your snow dance, guys. Yep. And send in those photos before what time, Dave?
Noon on Monday.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
We're gonna call it a night. Thank you. If you want to hang around, we'll after the credits, we can chat for a bit. But yeah, that's cool. We'll just run these right now.
Awesome.
It's a journey for